Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Infinity, and this is Magnetize Yourself, where we talk about life, love, spirituality, and of course, the law of attraction. Thank you so much for tuning in today for this collective reading and energy update. Now, today's video is going to be tapping into some of the energies that I've been sensing coming up in the collective. Now, with that being said, this reading is most likely going to pick up on some very specific threads of energy. This is because this is actually being recorded outside of our typical posting schedule, which is every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just for those of you who are new, I would love to have you join me in those live premiered readings. There is such a beautiful, super high vibrational energy in those readings. Okay, so this is one of those readings where even as I'm doing the intro, I'm already feeling some messages coming through. So one thing I heard coming through right away for someone is create space for the things that you love. And as I received this message, I felt that this was literal, as in creating some kind of physical space for things that you've been loving to do. Now, I know this is somewhat of a specific message, and of course, I always say in all of my readings, use your intuition and only take the messages that connect for you personally and leave the rest here. But what I'm getting very strongly for a group in this collective is that you've carried these interests, these dreams. I almost called them hobbies, but then my guides kind of corrected me by saying, there's sort of this negative connotation that society places at times on the word hobbies. I mean, there doesn't have to be. And there, of course, isn't that connotation necessarily in every context. But often when we refer to something as a hobby, it's almost sort of like a pastime, like a part of ourselves that we may just kind of be doing casually. But I'm getting that the specific things I am channeling here, those dreams, those visions, those ideas that you have, these are not hobbies. These are actually pieces of your overarching soul purpose, and they're keys to some kind of larger blueprint of unfolding that's happening in your life. And what I'm getting is that whatever this is for you, maybe it's multiple things, maybe it's one thing. This is something that for a while you've either been doing in secret, not necessarily that you're hiding it, but just sort of like trying to kind of put it in its own little box, or again, maybe keep it in that hobbies or pastimes category, even though deep down this is a bigger part of you. And for others of you, it could be that the reason as an adult you've not fully created the physical space for the expression of this part of yourself, the reason could be because when you were a child, you were kind of taught to keep these things in a box, or you were never given a space to be able to necessarily explore these things to the fullest extent. And the sense I keep getting as I'm channeling into this is now you have resources that you didn't have in the past. Resources don't have to be material, although for some of you, these could be material resources. Resources can be mental, emotional. A new level of maturity can be a resource in itself. And I do feel that, yes, you may have new material space or resources that you can put back into your dreams or goals that could be relevant for some of you, but at the very least, you have a higher level of emotional awareness. You have emotional resources, maybe skill sets or mental resources. I'm hearing education. For some of you, you may not even realize that certain things you've learned, knowledge you've accumulated, maybe education that you've completed in the past, somehow, even if it appears to be unrelated to your overarching life mission or these specific goals, dreams, or visions that you have, there actually is a connection there. It's almost as though in a roundabout way, your entire life has been training you for this moment. And my guides are calling it a moment of awakening. I heard the word comet. I don't know if some of you saw a comet or a shooting star recently, or maybe this speaks to moments of serendipity and magic starting to play out in your life where you are at the right place at the right time to witness some kind of manifestation or unfolding of something at the perfect moment, just like being in the perfect place or position to see a shooting star, to look up at the sky at just the right moment and see it happening. I feel that you're being intuitively nudged into more of those moments metaphorically in your life where you are in the right place at the right time to witness some kind of unfolding miracle or magic or serendipitous moment in your life. And I don't feel this isolated to one thing. I feel like you're going to notice this happening continuously, happening over and over again. And for some of you, you may already be experiencing this. And that may be part of why you manifested the content out of this video, because I do say all of these readings really are co-creations. So we are all energetically joining together here virtually on the channel and quite literally co-creating the messages that come through on a quantum level in a sense. So thank you for being part of that process. Also, on a more personal note, because I know some of you were asking, I did make it home safely from my trip. So thank you so much for all the kind wishes and comments wishing me safe travels on a recent YouTube post that I made. And also, I want to say as well that I would love to know in the comments what kind of videos you want to see in the future. I know that I mentioned that on that post, but if there is anything that you'd like to hear me speak about in a podcast video or a specific style of reading that you'd like to explore on the channel. Also, I did release my very first guided meditation. This was really just an experimental project. I personally do enjoy using guided meditations from time to time. I've used them as sleep aids and that kind of thing in the past. And I thought it might be fun to explore creating these every once in a while. I'm actually thinking of making one at some point on merging with your higher self, because I feel like that could be really powerful for helping you shift your energy into like merging with the higher version of yourself or meeting your higher self in kind of that meditation liminal space. So let me know if you did listen to that, if you enjoyed it, and if so, if there are any suggestions you have for future guided meditations. It's interesting as well that we're talking about creating space for the things that you love, because I personally do connect with this message as well. It's funny that this is coming up right as I've shifted my kind of recording office sort of space to a different part of my living space, kind of like its own room, its own space. And you may notice like an energy shift in this video because of being in that different space. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because I feel like this could equate to something in your life. Like when you physically prepare your environment for something or create the physical space for something that you are doing or something that you are passionate about, you can actually shift the energy that you are putting into whatever that is. I'm also hearing beautifying your space. So for some of you, you may feel guided to put up artwork or inspirational quotes or something of that nature, things that inspire you, crystals, that kind of thing. whatever it is for you, just to kind of beautify and enhance that space that you are creating in. I keep getting this image of someone going into a cave, and like when they enter that cave, it's almost as though they're entering this other realm where they can express this other part of themselves. And although I doubt many of us have a cave available literally or in our backyards, most likely there is some kind of way that you can either enhance a space or shift a space or create space in your environment for something that you love, even if it's just a corner in a room with like a desk and a beautiful little office corner, whatever this is for you. And yeah, I'm not sure why this is coming through. This is so specific, but I keep getting this has something to do with, I'm hearing as well, for some of you, this may not only be a physical environmental thing, but creating space in your day for something. So for me personally, something that I've always loved from when I was like 10 or 11 years old is songwriting. And I taught myself to play guitar when I was about 13 so that I could be able to add music to songs. And it's really been the dominant passion of my life. Even before I started this channel or started doing tarot readings, before I awoke spiritually, I have always adored singing and music. And for a long time, I kept this part of myself sort of in a box because I felt like I had found something through this channel that I really loved and something that I was good at and enjoyed deeply. And I love doing these readings and channelings. And I kind of told myself at some point that maybe music for me was better left kind of as a private part of myself, sort of something that I kind of keep in a closet and do just for myself. But it always felt like I was kind of trying to convince myself of that. And I had a breakthrough moment at the very beginning of this year in 2025 that this wasn't a part of myself that I wanted to keep hidden anymore. I'd always, especially in recent years, seen my songs as forms of channels. And I know that if you are an artist, you know what this is, how sometimes you can find yourself channeling higher information or wisdom or love or messages through your art. And I had kind of had an awareness that in the things I'd been writing the last few years, I'd been doing this kind of unconsciously, but I felt this major push to share it with you guys and with the world. And it was one of the most terrifying things that I've ever done because I really had no idea how people were going to react to it. I was extremely nervous to share my first song back in April, and yet I noticed so many synchronicities around doing this. I felt like the universe was pushing me to integrate this part of myself and to share this part of myself with the world more publicly. And I listened to that call, and since doing that, I have already found that my world has been opening up in new ways. And maybe most of all, I've found this really deep level of fulfillment within myself that I never really imagined I could feel on this level. I felt deeply fulfilled being able to create on this channel and share this part of myself. But it's almost like I always told myself, well, you know, my music is a part of me that's meant to be kind of kept in the dark. It's not meant to be integrated. And I realized that that was so contradictory to everything we talk about here on this channel. And I'm sharing all of this because I don't often share personal things. But first of all, it's almost making me tear up a little bit because this is a part of myself and a part of my soul that I really love, and it lights me up more than I can put into words every time I read a comment from one of you who have listened to my music and who have received something valuable from it or have enjoyed it in some way. And I can't tell you what it means to me to be seen and supported for this part of myself. as well, along with everything else that we create together here on the channel. So I just want to say a huge thank you to all of you who do listen to my music, who do follow me on my Spotify, and those of you who have left kind comments either here or on Instagram, because I've shared some of my music there as well. I hope that I can support you in the same way that I feel that support from you. I really feel like that's what this community is all about. That's really why I created this space to begin with, so we could have a place to feel mutually supported and seen along this path. So with all of that being said, if you are a creative type, if there's any piece of art or music or just any accomplishment recently in your life that you'd like to share, I would really love to hear from you in the comments. And I think it would be really beautiful if you felt guided to share anything. I know that most likely what I'm picking up on from your energy is that you may be the type of person that doesn't like to come off as though you are like bragging or gloating when you are sharing things that you've created. But I feel that sometimes because of this, you either won't fully acknowledge the tremendous value of things that you create, or you will hesitate to share them with others, which is really natural because as well, I feel that you are someone who carries a very powerful frequency, and your powerful energy naturally attracts very polarizing reactions, both strong positive reactions and strong negative reactions. So you've probably been trained into this from childhood, where you would share a part of yourself and be labeled as too much, or there would be people who would react so strongly to the things that you would do or create that they would actually reject your creations or somehow make you feel as though I'm hearing there are things that you've created or done that you were taught to believe held no value. And the major irony of your life is that all along, those were the parts of you that actually held the most value. So I am so grateful to all of you who are walking this journey with me. Whenever I read a comment from one of you who has started a business or started sharing your music or your art or started putting yourself out there in the world in some kind of way, started down a new career path. I saw a comment from someone who had graduated from a particular program recently in college. Whatever it is that you're doing, know how important and valuable it is, because your frequency is the value. It's always been the value. You have this really ancient soul that came here to create in your own way, that came here to share and express. And it's through that expression that you are healing and inspiring and uplifting so many people. And you really have no idea, in some cases, how much you are inspiring people around you silently, because many people are silent about the ways in which you are inspiring them. I feel that there are many, many people who are looking up to you or kind of watching. You have a lot of eyes on you, either literally or spiritually, where it's like there are entire collectives watching you free yourself, watching you express your own voice. And because you're doing it, it's inspiring them to do the same. And that's why you feel the pull so strongly in those directions. So anyway, by the way, if you would like to check out my channeled music and you haven't already, then you can do so by checking out my Spotify. My artist name on Spotify is Songs by Infinity. And my first two songs are called The Light in Your Room and Go On to New York. And I know I've been saying for a while, I've been working on a third song. I had to redo a couple of the vocal lines. And anyway, I'll have it out within a couple weeks for sure, probably sooner. And I think I'm more excited about this song than any of the ones that I've released previously. And songs 4 and 5 are already written and in the works. And the reason I've been sharing this as well is, well, I'm sure as you know, if you are someone who's creative, it really is like a muscle. And I feel as though the more that you create in a certain direction, whatever that is for you, the more it starts to flow naturally, the more inspired ideas will come to you. But another thing that I'm hearing is you really are creating in your own rhythm. And I just realized we haven't even touched the cards yet. I guess it's one of those readings where it's just flowing. But I'm getting that you have a rhythm to the way that you are creating, and it doesn't always fit into traditional rhythms of how people think the creative process should look. But you're really being asked to trust that unique rhythm, to trust that there is a reason to your ebb and flow with your creative process, just like there are seasons and cycles in your life. I'm also picking up that lately, and I feel like this may be one of those readings we have to break into a couple readings because I know it's going to get kind of long, but I feel that in your life lately, there's been something that we need to kind of address here, because I'm getting that your growth lately has been looking very different than it looked in the past. So I'm getting that in maybe the distant past at this point, when you were more in a 3D state of being, your growth was very much linear. It was one step at a time in a very clear, obvious progression that was measurable, where action equaled results. And yeah, it was very clear looking at your progress like a linear line on a graph. And then I'm getting you tapped into this higher level frequency that broke you out of that old system, but it kind of put you in a cave for a period of time. Again, we're getting that cave imagery. And I'm getting for a while, you felt like everything just kind of bottomed out. And I'm getting your standards of success change, like what you consider to be success, what you consider to be abundance. But also it felt like there was a great unraveling in your life where a lot of things were falling apart. But of course, at the same time, a lot was coming together spiritually behind the scenes. And I feel at that point, you kind of just were not necessarily tracking or focusing on any kind of quote unquote growth, like from a 3D perspective. You were just focused on being, on existing. And that was a beautiful thing. And it was an activating thing. But what I'm getting is now you're being pushed into this phase where at times things begin moving very fast for you. You sometimes experience these moments of a sudden timeline shift or a quantum leap in your life that feels like magical, powerful, like where did this come from? Suddenly maybe you're offered a new opportunity or you get a new idea or there's something that takes off really quickly. But then you'll experience what feels almost like a plateau. And what I'm getting is you're ready to start growing again. But your growth isn't going to look like it did before. It's not going to be linear. This time, because you're operating from a higher energy, from more of a fifth dimensional consciousness, it's going to look more like a quantum leap and then a period of integration, like a just enormous sudden shift in your life. And then a period of time where you have to rest a lot more, where you're just focused on like breathing and being and existing and just kind of settling in that energy. And what I'm getting is not to beat yourself up or feel guilty when you're on what you feel like is a plateau. This is never your growth being stunted. It's you processing quantum shifts and leaps that are now happening in your life. And just like nothing blooms every season, you move in seasons and cycles. You have a season of blooming, a season of harvesting, a season of planting, and a season of winters. And that is natural and meant to be intuitively guided, which is why I said earlier to trust your own rhythm, because your rhythm in your creation process at this point has a higher wisdom to it that the mind can't understand, that people around you can't understand. You may have people around you saying, well, when is this going to happen? Or how much are you growing there? Or what are your results here? And I feel it's very important for you to hold your center, to remember that you are just operating in an entirely different way from most of the people around you, but you're also leading the way into those new mentalities, those new paradigms, those new ways of being. And that is such a beautiful thing. to offer you further support along your journey. If you would like to check out the subliminals I've created, you can explore those in my Subliminals app. The name of the app is Sound and Soulful, and it's in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. I use and try out many different tools when it comes to manifesting, but subliminals are the one tool that I have used every single day on a daily basis for years and years now, because they are affirmations embedded within other sounds, tones, and frequencies, intentionally designed to specifically reach your subconscious mind. And it's really the subconscious, according to research, that controls 95% of our thoughts, actions, and outcomes in life. So when we shift what's happening in the subconscious mind, when we release our subconscious limiting beliefs and replace them with more positive ones, that is when we have those quantum shift, quantum leap moments. That's when our lives begin to change really quickly. So specifically, if this reading has been connecting for you, I do have over 130 subliminals, and more than likely some of those connect directly with specific goals or desires you might have. I have them for love, relationships, appearance, for mindset, mood, manifesting specific things, money, business, and so many other things as well. And there is a search feature in the app, so you can find the ones that connect for you. When you find the ones that resonate, you can listen in 10 different background sound options and create your own custom private playlist in the app. You can also read the affirmations contained within each subliminal if you're curious and want to make sure that those affirmations align for you personally, or want to use them on a conscious level by speaking them aloud during the day or anything like that. It's just a really beautiful manifestation tool. I am so passionate about this app. I personally use it every single day while I am doing my other manifestation rituals. I like to listen to my own subliminals in the background. So this can be really powerful for reprogramming your subconscious and helping you shift in your life. Now, I would really recommend for this reading my subliminal called Highest-Vibrational Timeline, because yes, there are many different ones you can use for different areas of your life, but this is definitely one to include on your playlist because it involves helping you to quantum jump to a higher level of your own existence, to shift pretty much every area of your life in positive ways, to get the energy moving when it comes to your work, your career, your life purpose, finances, appearance, relationships, love life, and many other things as well. I believe there are about 100 affirmations in this subliminal, so it's super comprehensive. It includes so many different areas of your life. And so this is in the Manifestation Magic category in the app. If you do have the app already, if you don't yet have it downloaded, I will leave a link to it in the pinned comment and the description box underneath this video. Otherwise, I am going to close this reading here. If this connected for you, I would love to have you follow me on Instagram, where I've been posting a lot of text posts and additional downloads lately. You can follow my music on Spotify under my artist name, Songs by Infinity. And yeah, leave me a comment if there's anything you'd like to share about your own life, your accomplishments, the things that you are creating, because I would love to give you a little love and support either energetically, or I will try to actually respond to some of those comments as well. And this is a bit of just a closing note. I know that not many of you probably made it all the way to the end of this video, but if you did, one last thought that I had is the potential of starting to do live streams here on the channel where I can interact with you guys in a more like in the moment, real time, live fashion, and where we can kind of co-create like that in real time. I think it would be really fun, and I would have been really nervous doing this for a while. I've thought of it for years, but I feel like I've gotten to the point where I would be ready to open up something like that potentially if there's interest in it. Let me know if that's something you're interested in. I think it could be really fun to do readings in real time and interact in that way. So let me know if that's something that you'd like to see in the future on the channel. It is something I feel like I've been kind of building my own momentum towards. So yeah, thank you for listening all the way to the end. If you made it here, I am so grateful for you, for your time, your energy, your love and support here, and really for everything that you are doing in your own life, the things that you are creating, the people you are inspiring. Never underestimate the impact that you are having on this planet. Until next time, I will connect with you guys here again in the next video, and I am wishing you a beautiful remainder of your day.